Imagine living in a world where your words could be used against you, where speaking up feels more dangerous than staying silent. Have you ever held back your thoughts, not because you had nothing to say, but because you feared the consequences? Silence isn't always the absence of words. It's often a shield, a defense mechanism, a form of power, or even a hidden cry for help. But why do people choose silence over confrontation? And when does it help? And when does it harm? Welcome to our channel. If you've ever wondered why some people retreat into silence, why others use it as a weapon, and why conversations sometimes feel like a battlefield, you're in the right place. Stick with me as we explore the psychology of silence, the hidden fears behind it, and how it shapes our relationships. And hey, if you find this topic as fascinating as I do, don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening discussions. The silent struggle. Why do people stay quiet? From childhood, many people are not given the opportunity to express themselves freely. Maybe they grew up in an environment where speaking up led to punishment, or where their opinions were dismissed. Over time, they learned that silence was safer than honesty. If every attempt to defend themselves ended in trouble, why take the risk? As adults, they carry this mindset into their relationships. They avoid confrontation, hesitate to express their needs, and suppress their emotions, believing that staying quiet will keep the peace. But here's the problem. Silence doesn't solve anything. It simply postpones conflict, until one day, all those bottled-up emotions explode. Silence as a weapon, the hidden game of control. Then there's the strategic silence, the kind used as a tool for power. You've probably seen it before. Someone deliberately ignores another person, using silence to manipulate emotions. It happens between friends, partners, even in families. Take the classic case of a married couple in an argument.
Instead of talking things out, one partner gives the other the cold shoulder. They refuse to speak but communicate through their child. Tell your mother that dinner is ready. Tell your father that I don't care. This isn't just avoidance, it's a calculated move. The message is clear. I don't even acknowledge you enough to speak to you directly. It's a silent battle, but the wounds it leaves are just as deep as any verbal argument. Fear, control, and the psychology of silence. For some, silence isn't about strategy. It's about survival. Many people stay quiet because they fear the consequences of speaking up. Maybe they worry their words will be twisted against them. Maybe past experiences have taught them that voicing their thoughts leads to punishment or humiliation. This isn't just paranoia, it's a learned response. Think about the legal system. When someone is arrested, their lawyer often advises them, "Don't say anything that can be used against you." This same principle applies to social interactions. Many people instinctively stay silent because they believe anything they say might be turned into ammunition later. But here's the irony. While silence may provide temporary safety, it also creates emotional distance. In personal relationships, refusing to communicate can cause more damage than any argument ever could. When silence is the right choice, and when it's not. Now, let's be fair. There are times when staying silent is the best option. Sometimes engaging in an argument is pointless. If the other person is looking for a fight rather than a conversation, responding might only escalate things. In certain situations, ignoring negativity is the smartest move. But in meaningful relationships, silence often does more harm than good. If someone withdraws every time there's a disagreement, issues remain unresolved. The emotional gap grows wider. Over time, what started as a defense mechanism turns into an impenetrable wall.
Breaking the cycle. How to handle silence in relationships. So, what's the solution? How do we deal with silence, whether it's our own or someone else's? Here are a few strategies. Create a safe space for open dialogue. If someone is afraid to speak, they need reassurance that they won't be judged or attacked. Don't force communication, but make it clear that their voice matters. Sometimes people need time to process their thoughts before speaking. Avoid using past conversations as weapons. If someone fears that their words will be thrown back at them later, they'll be even more reluctant to speak. Recognize the difference between healthy silence and destructive silence. There's a difference between taking a moment to cool down and using silence as a form of punishment or control. The truth about communication. It's a skill, not just an instinct. Most people believe that talking is easy, but effective communication is an art. It requires emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a willingness to understand rather than just respond. Many people enter conversations trying to prove themselves right rather than actually listening. This is why so many discussions fail. A good conversation isn't about winning, it's about understanding. And real understanding requires breaking through silence, not hiding behind it. Silence can be power, but connection is strength. Silence is a double-edged sword. It can be a tool for self-protection, a strategy for control, or a sign of deep emotional wounds. But at its worst, it can create distance, misunderstandings, and unresolved pain. If you've ever struggled with someone's silence or your own, remember this: communication isn't just about words, it's about connection. The more we learn to navigate silence, the better we can build meaningful, honest relationships. If this topic resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Have you ever experienced the power of silence in your relationships? And before you go, don't forget to subscribe for more insightful discussions. Let's keep the conversation going.